Morning, everybody. What's up? How's everybody doing? What's up, Tammy? How you doing? Coo. All right, so we got just a flat to slightly stronger open. We are getting just a 9 EMA kind of D rider up and down. We're just going right up the 9 EMA at this point. There's really nothing to see in the general markets. We are just cruising higher. Any type of dip in the market right now, down to support. These are buying opportunities. If you get any type of weakness in the markets, usually what's going to be happening is those are like opportunities to catch red to greens and stuff like that. You had a whole shitload of them yesterday. That's like your perfect day to trade. Anytime you get a gap down day, that's the day that pays you essentially for the week. So remember, like if you didn't make your week's nut yesterday, right, then you've got to redo your strategy. There's always 1 or 2 days in the market that pays you for the whole week, right? And usually in this market, the gap down days are the kind of flush down days to support, give you the range to kind of take things back to the top. Today's probably going to be a little bit more choppy because you're already kind of opening up stronger. So it's going to have less range than yesterday for sure. So you're just going to have to stick with more earnings plays and stuff like that. I think that's going to be really, really important when we go about these things. Let's talk about just some of the watch list here. So ZYNE, this thing went red to green yesterday and just had like an explosion coming out of that flag pattern. Looking for a potential day 2 on this thing, especially with the ZYNE. Like usually like in these particular days when it was ramping, anytime you would get like intraday dips, like you would just start to like ramp back. So there was a buyer that was coming in and just flooding this thing back. So watch for any kind of flush out at the open or something like that. I think this one will have a chance to rebound and make a push into the 10s and 11s. It's got enough volume and the chart pattern's hot enough and the market itself is hot enough for this thing to have a little bit of juice. Put all the pot stocks on the watch list for today. TLRY, if it breaks over the 9 EMA on the daily, I think is going to be a potential. It may take it off right at the open. The only issue on this one's going to be that the spread stinks and there's always a little bit of lack of liquidity on it. If that's the case, then it's easier to move into CGC or something else like that. But we want to keep CGC on the list too. It's more of a grinder stock, but it does trend. One thing that happens with CGC sometimes is like, if you just draw like kind of this is what happened to me yesterday. You just draw like a little horizontal line and try to catch a breakout on it. It doesn't work. The issue, when you have a stock that's a trender, they don't break out in a vertical manner, right? Which is like kind of what, because we're degenerates and we like to get paid quick. That's what we're always looking for. But there are other stocks that have a profile of share characteristics that make it more conducive to just liquidity and trending. And CGC is more like that. So when you trade it, just kind of be mindful that, you're not going to get like a ZM, right? In ZM, you can get like a 1 candle, $2 pop, right? Because that's just the way that stock is structured. CGC is not like that. You're not going to get $2 pop in 1 candle, but you will get $2 if you catch it right. You just got to be more patient with it. That was where I made my mistake on it yesterday. It was a fucking monster trender. It took all day, and I was looking for that quick fix. PYX also, you remounted your 200 and your 9 EMA. It had 2 million shares in volume, so it was enough to get in and out. Not epic, but enough to get in and out on this bad boy. I'd be watching this one too for some continuation. We still got all these little IPOs on the watch list. We had some nice trades in PIN yesterday. Off the flags and stuff. It's got good volume and good range. So I would definitely keep these. These things can keep grinding higher. The issue is going to be don't chase them into strength now. Like usually these IPOs, after the first few days, they like to come back. But if they're really, really strong, like a TW, you'll want to hit this thing only off dips and kind of participate if that trend starts to hold. Lift finally showing some signs of life here. Anything over this 9 EMA on the daily, I think releases this thing at least for $4, $5, $6. Lift is one of those ones that doesn't work that well if you chase it on strength, but it does have really good liquidity and good range. Anything over the 9 on the daily, which it's already doing pre-market, I think sets this thing up for at least a $4 or $5 run over the course of the week. So definitely something that I'll be keeping an eye on. And then out of the gappers, I thought all these were kind of B minuses. There's this Hasbro here, but it's a toy company, and it never moves like, you never get that fucking Friday night drunken shred on this thing, right? It just doesn't have that on it, so I give that a B minus. This twatter's starting to go. So if you look here, this is kind of a base breakout over this 36 level. So when you think of like earnings plays, right? Yes, there's the intraday chart, but what you want to always be doing is aligning it with, right, what we see as a thesis on its daily chart, right? What's that bigger picture showing? And so we've got to break out that from basically, the summer of last year, July, August. So you got a base breakout on this thing. You're already starting to kind of push pre-market, so that's okay. The issue on this one's going to be that it's thick. In this particular market, we have been trading heavier float stocks. This is 641 million, but this one moves even thicker than that. So we traded heavier float stocks recently, but this one moves real thick sometimes, and it just grinds along. It's an algo stock, so that's something to just kind of keep mind of. So I give that a B+. It's still not an A, but it has potential. The CDNS is a right sector. Software application's been hot for the last, 6, 7 months or whatever it might be, 5, 6 months. You're going to break out the all-time highs on this bad boy. I think that this one should have a decent enough range. 68 price. If anything, if you ORB over 68, I think that you're good to go on this bad boy. And then on the gap down short, so only one I saw that I liked was Watt. It's breaking under its 200 SMA. I think that this one could be okay. The issue on this one that we won't know is what's the liquidity on it? Normally it only does 500,000 shares in volume, but on an earnings day you could get into the millions. The issue is going to be two things. If there's a spread, right? If there's a $1 spread on it, I'm going to take it off the list, right? But if there's a 50-cent spread, I can deal with that and just trade smaller size. And then the issue will be liquidity. Obviously, to get in and out, we're going to need, 500,000, 600,000 shares in volume to get this thing going. So that's going to be the other big issue on this thing. It seems like all you little penny poppers are interested in this Trav. Not my cup of tea. You're busting right into resistance, so... And this thing this was a failed pump and dump from a few years, couple weeks ago. So this is not my exact, cup of tea. I think that, the MBRX was better yesterday just because it gapped into resistance. But once it started to clear on the daily, it started to be much better. But as always, right, these things just come in, die back down. Hey, Jesse, what's up? Hassan, how you doing, brother? So that's the thing, right? They do push, but just remember that they come all the way back down, right? So if you into that, then you into that. So when you think about Trav, you're going to have to kind of, ideally, you need to see this thing push over this 200 SMA, because it's you can see it pushes over and then breaks back under. It pushes over, it breaks back under. So you need this thing to kind of push over it and then hold. And then if it holds, I think, you'll have a chance at it if you are so inclined to let it roll. So that's it for now. Hey, Shelton, how are you? Let's go do what we got to do. Guys, this is a hot market. This is going to be one of the hottest markets you guys see, at least the last, week or two. You're getting small caps running, IPOs running, the indexes are running. So, really, no matter what you're trading and it's earnings season, no matter what you're trading, there's more than enough plays to satisfy your urges and make a little cheddar if you can. So do what you got to do. Let's be good. Let's be great. Make me proud. Let's shred.